I saw the perfect wave forming on the horizon. As it rolled toward me, I began to paddle as if my life depended on it. Then I felt it catch me, carry me, lift me along with it. I popped up, dropped in, and gently stepped on the tail of my board to slow my speed. As the wave curled over me and I ran my hand along the barrel, time stopped. And all there was the infinitude of the ocean and the land and whatever it is my soul is made of. I was 17 years old, and I was definitely not going to school that day because above all, this is what inspired me to surf. This is why, as a teenager, I got out of bed at 4 a.m. to jump in the icy Pacific Ocean, where I casually watched for shark fins and regularly got pummeled by waves twice my size. And it was all worth it for this one moment of pure bliss. And I guess I got kind of good at surfing because some of the world's biggest surf companies started sponsoring me. I got my hotels and travel and competitions paid for. I got free clothes, shoes, sunglasses, leashes, you name it. And all I had to do was do what I loved, or so I thought. The summer after that perfect wave, after I'd turned 18 and graduated high school, I was seriously thinking about deferring college to focus on my professional surfing career. But that summer, now that I was 18, just old enough, almost every single one of my team managers got me alone and tried to get me into bed. And one of them got me drunk and got me into his hotel room. I don't remember what happened after that. Maybe I blacked out. Maybe I've blocked it out of my memory. All I know is that I woke up feeling broken and scared and like I just wanted to disappear. By fall, I really didn't have any interest in surfing. I went to college, and I retreated into the strongest fortress I could find, the library. Day and night, I read everything I could, but especially history, because I think I felt like if I could understand what had happened in the past, I could understand what was happening and what would happen, and that this would somehow protect me. Knowledge is power, right? But the truth was that rather than a fortress, I had entered into a prison, because what I was reading wasn't empowering me. It wasn't even about me, because almost all of history is written by men, about men who are the heroes, the victors, the main characters. When women appear, if we appear at all, we are at best cast in secondary roles, never the authors of world events or even our own circumstances. But as I got older, I began to see something really flawed and really familiar about this. I saw my own female friends succeeding, but being told they didn't deserve their success, or that their success wasn't good enough. I saw them being overlooked, undervalued, and ignored, just like in the histories I was reading. So I started reading what my friends and I were going through into history's portrayal of women. And suddenly, my perspective of history changed. If a woman was described as pushy, I read her as assertive. If she was promiscuous, I took it to mean she was in control of her own body. If she was a footnote, I figured she threatened the men around her. And if she was difficult, I knew she was powerful. History, I discovered, is full of incredible women who have been ignored and silenced for too long, but whose voices have grown all the more powerful, and whose lives have become all the more relevant. And understanding this, my own life started to change. Seeing the fierce courage in these women who came before me, I began to take more risks. I was willing to fail, but also be proud of my success. And I felt empowered to pursue the life of my dreams, a dream even bigger than wanting to be a professional surfer. Because before I rode my first wave, I knew I wanted to be a writer. Ever since I was a kid, I'd been writing poems and short stories and essays, but I just never felt like I could pursue this passion until this moment when I truly found my voice. So I started sending out pitches about incredible yet overlooked women to the smallest journals and the biggest magazines. And some of them started writing back with a lot of no's, but some yeses too. And then, as any writer will tell you, I caught that perfect wave. I got a literary agent, and we started sending out my proposal for the biography of Dickey Chapelle, a female combat correspondent during the Cold War who fundamentally changed the way journalism is practiced by focusing on the human stories of the soldiers on the ground fighting and the citizens caught in the crossfire. Less than a month after sending out my pitch, St. Martin's Press bought my book. It came out to rave reviews. And soon after, I sold my second book, the biography of Jeannette Rankin, the first woman elected to Congress in 1916. Suddenly, the life I had always dreamed of living was a reality. I had become a full-time writer, not because I wrote about women, but because the women I wrote about inspired me to live my passion and showed me that it could be done. And this effect on me is far from unique. Study after study shows that when women are accurately represented in history, women and girls feel empowered. They raise their hand in class to share their ideas. They dare to believe in their dreams. And they show up to lead. And this is important not just on an individual level. Representation of women in history has a far-reaching effect on our present and our future. A recent study by the Pew Research Center found that female leaders inspired a greater sense of compassion, empathy, and creativity. Another prominent study by behavioral scientist Mansi Joshi found that the mere presence of a female leader inspired a greater sense of trust among coworkers. From climate change to global conflict, the challenges of our age require exactly this kind of leadership, capable of fostering communication, nurturing understanding, and catalyzing new ideas. Because it's not about one gender dominating over another. It's about bringing all the voices into the conversation so that we can hear and learn from one another, so that we can see the whole picture and not just our own lonely puzzle piece. But unlocking the potential of women and girls as the leaders of today and tomorrow begins by rethinking the way we view women throughout history. And that begins with us, and that begins with you. So I want us to take action. And it's simple, regardless of how you identify. Grab your calendar and mark a date for inspiring women. Get a cozy beverage, get your journal, and write down all the inspiring women you can think of. It could be Queen Cleopatra, or pop megastar Taylor Swift, poet Maya Angelou, or trans activist Jazz Jennings, pioneering pilot Amelia Earhart, or era-defining artist Frida Kahlo. It could be your mother, your sister, your friend, or your mentor. Whoever they are, write down their names, as many as you can think of. And from this very simple exercise, we begin to see a generations-long tradition of changemakers and trailblazers beginning to take shape. Then, beside their names, write your own, and know that you are an integral part of this lineage, capable of continuing to build the future that we need, a future that is equitable, sustainable, and just for all.